morning, everybody. This is Doc for Doc Taking on the Mormish. And I do apologize for missing our live broadcast last night. Some real life family stuff, so had to take care of that first. But I am here this morning, and we're gonna talk about ours, but we're gonna talk about Miss Anna von Wright, whatever her full name is. And so yesterday I was watching her video from December 27th, and again, if you get a chance, please, when you go to watch her, you might want to have a bottle of alcohol next to you of your favorite brand, whether it's beer, wine, liquor, whatever, scotch, whatever. She is the Pied Piper of this whole American national, U.S. national, the American Assembly land and soil jurisdiction, which is fictitious. It doesn't exist. It was something that was made up. These people will say, well, we claim our nationality on our land. Well, you don't own the state of California or the state of Michigan or the state of Georgia or anything like that. You own that little parcel that you purchase or you rent it. But that's their thing, is they're claiming their land. That's what they're saying. And so yesterday in watching this, she made the comment that she was on record with the Pope and the Queen. She filed some paperwork, and that way nobody else has to file it. I think it's the UCC the UCC paperwork. First off, I'm going to tell you, any sort of paperwork you file with the government, one person can't file it for all of you. Maybe lawsuits, class action lawsuits, but again, there's still individual paperwork that's filed to become part of those type things. You do have to file your own paperwork with the federal government. That's just how it is. There's no group participation or group form for that. Unless you want to claim your family, when you file your federal taxes and so forth, quote unquote group. So she said she went through all of this. So I called her out. I said, if you're on record with the Pope and the Queen, prove it. Post it. And I think that's fair to anybody. If you make that kind of accusation or that kind of claim, then you need to prove it. You need to post physical, actual proof. The burden of proof is with you. It's not with the person calling you out. So what I did was, I made my comment. I also, she had made the comment about, we're afraid of her and her group because she might start a third party and become a political opponent. And I made the comment. I said, no, we who believe in facts and evidence and truth will actually shut you down before you even get that far. And she's a pretty strong Pied Piper. These mice, they follow her pretty good, and I got a taste of it yesterday, and I thought it was funny. I really did. So I made my comment, and I told her, I said, we'll use our voices in any way, any means possible to make sure that doesn't happen, because you are not what this country needs. You are a radical. You are what the country right now is trying to get away with, or get away from, on both sides of the spectrum. We want to come in the middle. I don't care what political party you are. I think that cooler heads can prevail. I think we need to sit down. We need to get back to the days of free exchange of ideas. The understanding that you may not like what the other person says or suggests, but hey, it's their opinion. You roll with it. Instead of this hyper split that we have right now, where both sides are so extreme that for some reason they can't find their way back to the middle to actually come together and have a discussion. And that's what it comes down to. But I digress. Let me go back to what I'm talking about. So two or three people, after I posted my comment, told one of them posted and said, well, why don't you prove who you are? I said, I didn't make the claim that I was on record with the Pope and the Queen of England. I never made that claim. The burden of proof ain't with me. It's with her. Okay? And again, I said my 2 cents, and I said, have a great day. Probably about an hour and a half later, there's this other guy, and he makes the same comments for me to go find the proof. And I'm like, why do I have to find the proof? I'm not the one who made the claim. The burden of proof is with the person who is making the claim. You claimed it. Show it. Prove it. So I even told him, I said, look, I'm going to make it easier, since research, doing your own research, eludes you. It seems to be very difficult for this group of individuals. They take her at face value. She is very good at wording how she puts things out there. Very good. So, and when she again, she has that grandma feel, that grandma look. Oh, this is grandma, you know. And she talks in that kind of tone, and her friend who puts on their weekly videos, 2.5 hours long, and I'm telling you folks, I've sat through some of the most boring lectures in the world and have not wanted to gouge my eyes out and shove pencils in my ears, but this will make you do it after you get past the first. I literally have to jump so I can find what I'm looking for, what she's talking about, because she doesn't stay on topic. So, with that, I went out and I said, you know what, I'll make it easy for you. So, last night I did I even used Bing, okay, and I'm not a Bing person. I'm a Google. I used to be an Ask Jeeves back in the day. Navigator, if anybody remembers that, Netscape Navigator. So, anyways, I did some research. And I went and, very simple, went out there and asked, was Anna von, whatever her last name is, on record with the Pope and the Queen? Okay. So I found some interesting articles. There's a lot of people against her as well, and what she's teaching, and what she's brainwashing people to believe in. Again, people, free thought. I don't believe what I read. I don't believe what I hear. I take it and I research it. You know, some of it's true, some of it's false. That's the thing you got to remember about the media, or anybody who does videos with the production value of some of these people, such as her, is you can't take it for face value. You've got to go do your own research, and that's what I've learned. Do your own research. You can't go wrong if you do your own. And so I went out there, and there is a group who is very much in the struggle against her, pointing out the falsehoods that she's mentioning, pointing out the fact that there is no facts or evidence behind anything that she's saying. Please remember that this group, what they do, they make up fictitious documents to fit what they want. So, as I researched more, her definition of being on the record is, I found a letter that she wrote and may have sent. I don't know. I don't have postmarks. And maybe she did. I've got to dig a little further in that. Now this is reaching international lines. And but I did find the document. And what's weird is, it's not weird for this group at all. This is right up her alley. She actually threatens death as a punishment if a universal sales tax got passed. Now, personally, me, I would like all states to use the same amount of sales tax across the board if they use sales tax, because there are states that don't. There are states that don't have state income tax. Florida is one of them, which I think is great. A little higher sales tax to make up for that, but they're a tourist state, so they make quite a bit of money from the tourism industry. But anyways, I read the letter, and it's a letter. Now, I'm going to do some more research, because that's who I am. I am going to go one step further, and I'm going to write a letter. I'm going to print that letter out. Who knows? I may never get a response, but I'm going to do my best to find out who I need to speak to in their media relations department. Yes, the Queen of England. Yes, the Pope. And I want to ask, did you receive a letter like this from this person? Because I think that having that actual evidence come back for us to be able to say, well, yes, you wrote a letter, yes, you posted it on your site, but you never sent it. I have documents. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'll give you a plain example. Right now, in the state of New Mexico, this group is embedded in the state of New Mexico, sorry. And so what I'm doing is I'm bringing to light this information. Well, the Secretary of State in New Mexico was asking me, well, what statute does this violate? If you can show that, we'll post this and make it public record. And I was like, well, one, I'm not asking you to make a public record, but two, I'm asking you to look into this group. That was the whole point of the letter. Obviously, it's showing me that we're right. Our government sometimes does not read or understand what we're trying to get through to them, so you got to do it a couple times. So basically what I'm doing is, I'm doing follow-on research. I went and looked at our federal statutes for attempting to overthrow our government, and there's a lot. I'm really surprised that the charges didn't fly higher for the people that did their little shenanigans on January 6th. Now, do I understand they are upset? Yes. But do I think that was the right way to do it? No. How do I think the right thing to do was vote those people out of office? Power of your votes, very strong. To this day and age, I do not believe that the people that say, well, your vote really doesn't count because it's this. Well, my vote does count because that's what sends the electorate to the Electoral College to put their votes in. And again, I don't think the Electoral College should be banished, and I digress from this subject. We'll talk about this at a later time. But I do feel that if, in a primary election, if whoever the candidate in that state has won that primary, that's who you put your votes to. You don't try to do a coup and then all of a sudden be like, oh yeah, we're switching all our votes. No. If the Republican candidate won in that state, or the Democrat candidate won in that state, that's who all your votes go towards. You are going there to do the will of the people, and the will of the people says this candidate won in our state. That's who you're putting your votes through. And I think it needs some revision. I don't think it needs to be banished. I think, and I actually know it's been proven that then what happens is these 3 or 4 states then control who becomes president. And again, the popular vote versus the electoral vote. Yeah, but we see how the popular vote can be skewed and can be altered. And again, I don't have all the proof. I'm not jumping on that bandwagon. But again, we have learned that the voting records or databases in the states need to be cleaned up, and that's something else we can talk about. But anyways, so I went back and I found the letter. Now, if she's saying that she's on record because she wrote the letter and posted it online, or maybe got it notarized, okay, it's on record. But that doesn't mean that the Queen and the Pope have received this letter. All it means is she wrote the letter and posted it online somewhere to say that it's on record. That doesn't state that these two figureheads have been notified of this type of BS. But yeah, there was the bottom paragraph, and what I'm going to do is I am going to create in my Google Drive a folder where I upload these documents to, and I'll put a link on the page. You are more than welcome to go out and look at these documents. I mean, it's crazy. It really is. I mean, you look at some of the Moorish documents. There's a video I posted as well on the page, where this guy is saying he's the Attorney General. I'm like, you're the Attorney General of what? Nothing. You're not an Attorney General. In your mind, you think you're the Attorney General. See, these groups, both these groups, think they have set up governmental structures or governments outside of our standing government. And that's not what we need in this country. We do not need splinterized or splinter-celled government factions running around trying to say, well, we have our own judges, we have our own notaries, we have these and that. I mean, if you look at some of the documents from these state assemblies, and that's what they call them state assemblies. They have governors, lieutenant governors, secretary of states, and those right there can cause a lot of confusion. But anyways, back to Anna. So I had these two, maybe three people come at me, and that's fine. That's fine. The sheep will defend the wolf in sheep's clothing. They will. They'll come around them and protect them because that's all they know. And those are the people that are afraid to look at the research and look and do the research for themselves. They take this person for face value. That's why I'm on a page called Sovereign or Citizen, and there's at least one or two people who are on there. Oh yeah, I'm new to the page, I want to do this. And my response is don't fall for the fictitious rhetoric, because that's what it is. It's all fake. You don't get into a new system, you don't get any more rights, you don't get claim. And Anna's talking, she was talking about this in this video dated December 27th. She talked about how she filled out this paperwork and did all this stuff for us so we can come back home and claim our stuff. So I asked the question, what stuff? What did you do? What did you claim that got me stuff? And what is this stuff? That's what I want to know. And please don't tell me it's rights. I have my rights. Now, there's a lot of people out there that don't understand their rights. Okay? They don't understand that the 10th Amendment gives states the power to govern the rules and regulations of the public roadways and highways. They don't understand what the amendments of the Constitution actually mean. They don't understand that the Constitution of the United States can be modified. Rules and regulations can come out. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm pro Second Amendment, but I know in this, and until Georgia signs constitutional carry, because nowhere in the Constitution, in the Second Amendment, does it say I can conceal carry without a permit. It doesn't. It says I have the right to bear arms. Okay, cool. That's the understanding. It does not say that I have the right to carry a weapon concealed whenever I want and however I want. Nowhere in there does it say that. So what states have gone and done to erase or help erase the gray area in the Constitution is say, wait a minute, we understand you have the right to bear arms and we're all for that. We support your Second Amendment. However, if you want to carry concealed, you got to have this permit, and to get this permit, you got to do your background check, you got to go to this class, you got to operate the pistol. And I think that's all well and good. It's just like a driver's license. Nowhere in the Constitution say you have the right to travel in a motor vehicle. What it does say is you have protected freedom of movement between states. You do not. This is a privilege to drive a car, to drive a half-ton full crash the crash videos of the crash test dummies. We've all seen those. It's. I want people to have a driver's license. I want you to prove that you have the knowledge of the roadway and you know how to operate one of these things safely. But there's no constitutional right that says you can get into your motor conveyance or your motor vehicle or your automobile, whatever they want to title it. There's none. So, going back to Anna, I did the research. I went out and I found this stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that gentleman and I'm going to reply to his comment and say, well, I want to let you know I did do the research because you were too lazy to do it yourself. And here it is. Yes, she wrote a letter. She probably got it notarized somewhere, so it was on, quote unquote, on the record in Alaska. This person, she literally lives in one of the most remote areas in Alaska. And it fits her perfect because, honestly, the cops aren't going to go out there to get her. And the cops, it's out of their jurisdiction, to be honest with you. So I will post that. But I will also post and say I am also doing research into this to find out if this letter was actually sent to the Pope and the Queen of England. Why? Because if it was, then yeah, truly she's on record, and she's labeled as a threat too, now, to the Queen of England and to the Pope because of her comments. She wrote another thing talking about, and I'll post this document too. They're in PDF form, so it makes it really easy to share the insanity. She turned around and said that Nancy Pelosi was dual citizened in Ireland and Israel. And Nancy Pelosi is not dual citizened. And so she says, Nancy Pelosi works for the Queen. And I'm like, no, she doesn't, but okay. And again, I called her out. I responded to her letter. I attached it to an email. I said, Anna, where are you getting this from? What documentation? What source material? You know, please post factual evidence of this, not your opinion, not your made-up reality. And when I get a response, if I get a response, we will definitely keep track of this, because what I'm hoping happens is she does respond, and knowing full well she's not going to respond with actual factual evidence. It'll be another site that's someone's opinion, which is fine. You are more than willing to have your own opinion on these matters. I have no problem with that, but when you start speaking falsehoods and you're trying to get people to pay money for this fake shit, that's when I have a problem. That's now you are running a swindle, a hustle, and that is not cool one bit. So what I'll do again is we will set up another live broadcast. I'll probably have one this weekend, and I do apologize because I did promise to show you guys this 928 package. I promised to show you guys what a baby deed looks like. Again, remember, you cannot own a person, and they're saying with the baby deed, what it does is it claims ownership from the federal government, because they think a birth certificate is the federal government owning your child. Remember, you cannot own another person. Owning another person amounts to slavery. So we abolished slavery a long time ago. So in claiming that, well, she's our property or he's our property, no, that's actually illegal. So these parents that think they're claiming their child back from the government, you're wrong. There is a video here on Stop the Insanity, Doc taking on the Mormish, that I've posted. And again, it does come from another YouTuber. His first handle is Vaughn. I can't remember his last name on his handle, but great guy, puts out some great videos. I watch them all. I've watched several of them. He's covered these Moorish nationals. He's covered these U.S. nationals now. He covers soft sits. I mean, the guy he's very knowledgeable. I believe he's from across the pond. So he does have some UK sovereign sit, which is really interesting to watch and listen to as well, because they are talking their codes and statutes over there, and their motor vehicle laws are much different than ours. Much different, and much more strenuous than ours too. You can actually go to jail right off the bat for not paying your tax, and your tax on your vehicle is like our registration. So they want to, and I'll tell you what, don't want to mess with those guys over there and their British law enforcement. But definitely check out those videos. There's another one called True Science 151. He did a really, really good video debunking all the soft sit and Moorish claims of, well, I don't have to have a driver's license, I don't have to have registration, I don't have insurance, well, I'm a traveler, not a driver, I'm not driving, driving is commerce. Well, that's incorrect. Driving is not commerce. Like right now, I'm driving. I'm operating a motor vehicle, because you driving is a action term, because I'm doing it. I'm operating this motor vehicle. And so he does a really good job. He takes the Black Laws Dictionary 4th edition, a lot of soft sits, a lot of Moors. The definitions they're using are coming out of the 2nd edition, so that came out in like 1903. So if we look at it, it's 119 years old, and that's the version they like to use because the definitions fit what they want to use them for. It fits what they're using it for. So definitely I'll post that video too. It was a great video. It went in and it debunked all of their definitions. It really was a great video, and I love him. He's funny. I've had some short email conversations with him. There's another one that I think I posted from him where you'll see the whole Moorish government process at work where they're saying, well, we have a court order. And at first when I heard that, I'm like, he's saying we have a court order, and I'm like, wow, they got a court order. But then as you're listening to it, excuse me, they're talking about how it's from their judge. So I did some research. I found the judge. I found the actual court order. What I'm going to do is upload it, and I'm going to share it on his page, and I'll share it to mine, so you guys can take a look at it. We do have the YouTube page set up. Nothing on there right yet. I think what I'm going to do is start moving these videos here to my site, my YouTube page, so that way you guys can take a look at them and watch them as well. But I will tell you, it is absolute madness, and that's why you'll see on my page it says stop the madness, and that's what it is. It's utter complete madness. And the fact that these people believe this stuff, they really do. Old definitions, treaties that are no longer in existence anymore and have no effect. They try to use treaties. The Moors try to use the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, which was a treaty that was designed between the U.S. and the Kingdom of Morocco, dealing with trade, maritime trade. There are a few things about, if you broke the law in that country, you were held to the rules and the laws of that country. Wartime stuff, that if one of us were in a war, the other one would come to our aid, or if our ships were damaged and we came into port, they would help us getting the needed materials to fix our ships, and vice versa. So they try to use that as their way of getting out of tickets, and how this treaty, you're violating this treaty. Well, actually we're not. The history of the U.S. and the Kingdom of Morocco is actually pretty impressive. It's been a long-standing friendship with that country. So, and I'll post that too. That's on their embassy website. So great history. I mean, we work hand in hand with them a lot. So this is going to be it for this video. Like I said, I'm going to reschedule. I do apologize for missing our live chat last night. I am going to start setting these up through YouTube, so that way they're already up on YouTube. Everything's good to go. We do have a really cool intro. If you look here on the page, I did post it, so we'll get that set up. And I'll get the link posted so you guys can join me this weekend. I'm probably going to do a Saturday night, probably 8, 9 o'clock. Please join me. We're going to have a lot of information. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. I'm also going to give you a glimpse into some of the next videos. We're going to start a new series. It's going to call, I think I'm going to call it Anna's Out of Her Mind series. And we're going to look at these letters, these little snippets that she posts every so often. And then we'll be sure to put it out there so you guys can actually download these stuff. I don't do this stuff for donations or anything, but I will post a support me to my Cash App if you want to donate. That's awesome if you do. I do this to get the information out, because I feel that this group right now, they have the upper hand in getting information out. And right now we have a lot of YouTubers. We make fun of these people, but we also post where they're wrong. So I'm here on the informational side. We'll have a laugh or two. We'll point some fingers and and laugh at stupid, as Schrodinger's cat says. So again, thanks a lot, and I'll see you guys this weekend. Have a good one. This is Doc for Doc Taking on the Mormish.